The grand military parade that U.S. President Donald Trump had been wanting for years barreled down the streets of Washington, D.C. on Saturday, complete with tanks, troops, and a 21-gun salute. The parade, which coincided with Trump's 79th birthday, commemorated the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army.
Legacy and commitment.
It played out against protests around the country by those who decried Trump as a dictator and would-be king. The so-called No Kings rallies unfolded in hundreds of cities, designed to counter what organizers said were Trump's plans to feed his ego on his 79th birthday. While mostly calm, a demonstration in LA turned chaotic when police began charging at the crowd and firing tear gas. The Californian city has been the center of rising tensions as Marines and National Guard were deployed to the city during protests related to immigration raids.
Trump hosts military parade for U.S. Army anniversary amid No Kings protests across the country. A massive military parade commemorating the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army, which coincides with President Donald Trump's 79th birthday, was staged in Washington, D.C. on Saturday. The grand military parade that U.S. President Donald Trump had been wanting for years barreled down Constitution Avenue in Washington, D.C. on Saturday with tanks, troops, and a 21-gun salute. It played out against the counterpoint of protests around the country by those who decried the U.S. leader as a dictator and would-be king. During the parade, which coincided with Trump's 79th birthday, he sat on a special viewing stand south of the White House to watch the display of American military might, which began early and moved swiftly as light rain fell and dark clouds shrouded the Washington Monument. The procession, with more than 6,000 soldiers and 128 Army tanks, was one Trump tried to make happen in his first term after seeing such an event in Paris in 2017, but the plans never came together until this year, when the parade was added to an event recognizing the Army's 250th anniversary. Parade shrouded by nationwide No Kings protests. Hours before the parade started, demonstrators turned out in streets and parks around the nation to sound off against the Republican president. They criticized Trump for using the military to respond to people protesting his deportation efforts and for the muscular military show in the U.S. Capitol. In Washington, anti-war protesters unfurled signs that said, "Homes, not drones," not far from a display of armored vehicles, helicopters, and military-grade equipment on the National Mall set up to commemorate the Army's birthday. Vendors outside the festival sold gear marking the military milestone. Others hawked Trump-themed merchandise. Doug Haynes, a Navy veteran who voted for Trump, attended the day-long festival to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday, but said that the parade was a little over the top. Pointing at a nearby tank, Haynes said that having them roll down the street is a very bold statement to the world, perhaps. No Kings rallies unfolded in hundreds of cities, designed to counter what organizers said were Trump's plans to feed his ego on his 79th birthday and Flag Day. Organizers said they picked the name to support democracy and speak out against what they call the authoritarian actions of the Trump administration. The parade was added just a few weeks ago to the planned celebration of the Army's birthday and has drawn criticism for its price tag of up to $45 million and the possibility that the lumbering tanks could tear up city streets. The Army has taken a variety of steps to protect the streets, including laying metal plates along the route. The day-long display of America's Army comes as Trump has shown his willingness to use the nation's military might in ways other U.S. presidents have typically avoided. In the last week, he has activated the California National Guard without the governor's permission and dispatched the U.S. Marines to provide security during Los Angeles protests related to immigration raids, prompting a state lawsuit to stop the deployments. Ongoing tensions in Los Angeles. A previously calm demonstration in downtown LA quickly turned chaotic as police on horseback charged at the crowd, striking some with wood rods and batons as they cleared the street in front of the federal building. Officers then fired tear gas and crowd control projectiles at the large group, sending demonstrators, hot dog vendors, and passing pedestrians fleeing through the street. Some have since regrouped, ignoring an LAPD dispersal order. Less lethal has been approved. Less lethal may cause discomfort and pain. It is advised that all persons leave the area, police said in a post on X. It was a total 100% overreaction. We weren't doing anything but standing around chanting peaceful protest, said Samantha Edgerton, a 37-year-old bartender. Marines appeared for the first time at a demonstration since they were deployed to City on Friday with the stated mission of defending federal property. Dozens of Marines stood shoulder to shoulder in full combat gear, hands on their rifles, beside other law enforcement, including Department of Homeland Security officers at the National Guard. Directly in front of them, hundreds of protesters jeered in English and Spanish, telling the federal troops to go home. Like and subscribe for more.
Thanks!